Welcome, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really plunging into the incredibly dynamic world of the global makeup and color cosmetic products market. Our mission for you is basically to unpack all the latest data from a pretty comprehensive market report. We want to pull out the key trends, those fascinating projections, and maybe some surprising nuggets, too. It's about giving you a real shortcut to being well-informed about this just massive, impactful industry. And just to set the stage, when you think about the scale, back
Yeah.
in 2021, this global market was already sitting at what? An eye-watering $56.37 billion.
Yeah, and that's really just the starting line. The projections, honestly, are immense for this market. By 2025, it's expected to hit nearly $75 billion.
$75 billion. Wow.
Exactly. And then by 2033, it could soar like all the way to over $130 billion. So that represents a really powerful compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of about 7.2%. What's fascinating here, is that this isn't just steady expansion. It really highlights a significant acceleration, big shifts in consumer demand and market opportunities.
Incredible. So for you listening right now, that's not just big numbers. It's a rapidly expanding landscape with a lot of movement. But where exactly is all this growth happening globally? Can we break that down, maybe region by region, starting with North America?
Absolutely, let's do that. North America, yeah, it remains a substantial player, no doubt. Its overall market was around $16.2 billion in 2021, and that's projected to grow to over $20.8 billion by 2025, and then reach nearly $34.6 billion by 2033. So this translates to a solid CG of about 6.6%. Pretty healthy.
Okay, 6.6%. And what's particularly interesting within North America itself, are there any standout countries driving that or maybe showing some unique trends?
Definitely. The United States, well, as you'd probably expect, it's the largest piece of the pie. It's forecasted to grow from roughly $13.2 billion to almost $28 billion by 2033. That gives it a CGR of about 6.4%. But what's intriguing, actually, is Canada. It shows a slightly higher growth trajectory. Its market is set to nearly triple over that same period, hitting about $3.7 billion by 2033.
Higher than the U.S.
Yeah, reflecting a KGR of just over 7.3%, so a bit faster. This slightly faster pace, well, it could be due to various factors, maybe increased disposable income or perhaps evolving beauty consumption habits up there. And Mexico also shows robust growth. It's projected to reach nearly $3 billion by 2033 with a solid 6.7% CAGR.
Okay, interesting. So let's move across the Atlantic now. Let's talk about Europe. What do the numbers look like there, and how does this growth sort of stack up against North America?
Right, Europe. While its market, while maybe a bit more mature in some ways, is still climbing steadily. It was around $11.7 billion in 2021, expected to reach about $15.1 billion in 2025, and then over $25.3 billion by 2033. Its overall CAGR is roughly 6.7%. So actually pretty similar to North America's pace overall.
Okay, very close then.
Yeah. And when we, zoom in on the individual countries, Germany actually leads the EU nations. Its market is projected to more than double, reaching over $5.3 billion by 2033, and it boasts Europe's highest TAGR at about 7.4%.
So Germany's the hotspot in Europe.
Seems like it, yeah. Suggests a particularly dynamic market, could be strong e-commerce adoption or maybe just a vibrant local beauty scene. The United Kingdom is also strong, projected to hit over $4.1 billion with a 7% CAGR, so also quite high. France sees steady expansion, reaching around $3.3 billion. Italy and Spain also show consistent growth. Their CAGRs are between, say, 6.1 and 7%. Russia, though, in contrast, shows a notably lower CAGR. It's just under 5%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, reflecting slower growth. It's projected to reach just under $1 billion by 2033.
It's fascinating, isn't it, how diverse the growth rates can be even within like a single continent.
Yeah.
And I see here beyond those major players, several other European markets are chipping in too, right?
Mm.
Showing steady expansion.
Yes, exactly. Many smaller European nations, you've got Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland listed here. They're seeing consistent growth, generally mirroring that regional average. So, for instance, Sweden's market is set to more than double over the period as well. It really highlights broad-based positive trends across the continent, even if those individual market sizes are, well, smaller compared to Germany or the UK.
Okay, got it. Now, here's where it seems to get really interesting looking at these numbers. If we shift our focus over to Asia Pacific, I mean, this region looks like it's projected to be the undisputed growth engine. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. APAC is poised to lead with the fastest growth globally. We're looking at an astonishing CAGR of over 7.8% for the region.
Wow.
Yeah. So back in 2021, APAC recorded over $20.3 billion. That's set to rise dramatically, nearly $27.5 billion in 2025, and then an impressive $50.2 billion by 2033. Over $50 billion.
50 billion. So
Yeah.
what's driving that? What are the key drivers behind this, well, incredible leap? And which countries are really leading the charge there?
Well, this explosive growth in APAC, it's multifaceted, really. You've got rising disposable incomes, a burgeoning youth demographic that's really keen on beauty and personal expression. Plus, rapid e-commerce penetration making products just so much more accessible than before. And there's often a strong cultural emphasis on skincare and cosmetics, too. Now, when we look at specific countries, China is a major force, of course, projected to reach nearly $15 billion dollars with an 8% CAGR. Very strong.
Okay, huge market.
Huge. But the real standout, I have to say, is India. It's showing truly remarkable growth, from around $3 billion dollars expected to shoot up to over $8 billion by 2033.
Over 8 billion from 3.
Yeah. And its CAGR is about 8.7%. That is the highest figure among all the countries and regions we're discussing today.
Incredible, almost 9%.
It really indicates a market that's, on the cusp of a massive beauty boom. South Korea is also strong, naturally, reaching over $4.6 billion, 7.2% CAGR. Japan grows to nearly $7.5 billion, that's over a 7.1% CAGR. And Singapore, another very strong performer, is projected to reach almost $2 billion, driven by an 8.1% CAGR. Also very high.
So India, China, Singapore, all around, or above 8%.
Exactly. And don't forget Southeast Asia as a collective region. Also impressive. It's nearly tripling its market size to almost $4 billion by 2033 with an 8.4% CAGR. I mean, the sheer scale and the speed of growth here, it's unlike anything we're seeing elsewhere, really.
It truly paints a picture of a region in, well, hyper-growth mode. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. What about South America? What's its trajectory looking like in comparison? Still strong?
South America also shows strong momentum, definitely. Growing from about $3.6 billion in 2021 to over $8.6 billion by 2033. That gives it a robust 7.4% CAGR overall. So also very healthy growth.
Right up there.
Yeah. Brazil is, as you might expect, the region's largest market there. It's projected to reach over $3.1 billion with a 7.3% CAGR. However, interestingly, Argentina shows an even higher regional CAGR. It's just under 8%.
Argentina higher than Brazil.
Slightly higher growth rate, yeah. Its market's projected to more than double from its 2021 size, hitting over $1.7 billion. It suggests a particularly active and, expanding consumer base there.
Interesting. And I see across the rest of the continent, we've also got consistent expansion. Countries like Colombia, Peru, Chile, all showing pretty healthy growth rates, contributing to that regional increase.
That's right. Colombia around 6.9%, Peru 7.2%, Chile 7.6%. So all contributing significantly. Now moving to the Middle East, this region is also showing significant promise and dynamism. It's projected to grow from roughly $3.1 billion in 2021 to over $7.3 billion by 2033. That's a healthy 7.3% CAGR overall for the Middle East.
Okay, another strong region. What stands out there? Any particular countries leading that charge? Maybe driven by, I don't know, evolving beauty standards or consumer access?
Yeah, well, the UAE shows particularly strong growth, really stands out. Its market is set to more than double, from around $500 million to over $1.3 billion by 2033, and it boasts a very high CGR 7.9%. Almost 8% again.
Wow, UAE nearly 8%.
Yeah, this rapid expansion could be linked to, well, high disposable incomes, obviously a young population, and a very strong retail environment, both online and offline. Other key players include Saudi Arabia, projected to reach over $1.9 billion. That's a 7.4% CAGR. And Turkey is also very dynamic, growing to nearly $1.5 billion with a 7.6% CGR. So strong growth across the board there, really. Egypt and Qatar also contribute significantly to the region's strong overall performance. Egypt around 6.9%, Qatar 7.1%.
Okay, makes sense. So finally, let's round out this global tour with Africa. What's the outlook for the beauty market there?
All right, Africa. It's projected to grow from about $1.7 billion in 2021 to nearly $4 billion by 2033. That represents a 6.7% CAGR. Still solid growth, though maybe starting from a smaller base.
Okay, almost $4 billion, and within Africa.
Well, Nigeria is a key market to watch. It's expected to nearly triple in size, hitting over $630 million. That's at a 6.9% CAGR. And South Africa shows an even higher regional CAGR, actually. It's at 7.3%.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, growing to over $1.5 billion. So South Africa seems to be leading the growth pace within the continent currently. It indicates that while, it's still a smaller market comparatively overall, Africa is definitely showing significant emerging potential.
Absolutely. So, okay, we've covered a lot of ground there. That was a whirlwind tour. From North America's consistent growth, Europe's varied landscape, then South America's strong players, the Middle East's emerging dynamism, and Africa's developing potential. But I guess the undeniable takeaway here, for you listening, is just the incredible diversity in these growth rates, right? And those clear growth hotspots we've highlighted, particularly, wow, in Asia Pacific.
Exactly. What's truly fascinating, I think, is that the global makeup and color cosmetic market isn't just expanding in some uniform way. It's not just getting bigger everywhere at the same rate. It's undergoing these really significant geographic shifts. Asia Pacific is clearly leading the charge as the fastest growing region. And then within that, as we saw countries like India, China, Singapore, they are truly driving immense growth. And each one has its own unique trajectory, influenced by unique cultural factors, economic factors.
Exactly. And understanding these specific figures, these regional dynamics, well, it offers invaluable insight, doesn't it, for anyone interested in global consumer trends or economic shifts or even just the evolving nature of personal expression through beauty. So I guess the final thought to leave you with is this. Given these really robust projections, especially that high-octane growth from countries like India or Singapore, what new innovations in cosmetic products might we see emerging from these specific regions, driven by their unique needs and tastes? And how might those innovations influence global beauty standards and, well, what consumers desire all over the world in the years to come? Something to mull over as you go about your day.
For so many of us, makeup isn't just like a quick step in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a form of self-expression, right? It's a splash of color,
Yeah,
maybe a daily ritual.
definitely.
But have you ever stopped to think about the huge, incredibly dynamic industry humming behind every single lipstick or blush?
It's fascinating, isn't it, how that really personal connection, that daily act, scales up into this massive multi-billion-dollar global market,
Yeah,
and one that's just constantly shifting, constantly innovating. It's quite astonishing, the pace.
absolutely. And that's exactly what we want to dig into today. The global makeup and color cosmetic products market.
All right.
We've got some really great insights here, sourced from Cognitive Market Research, presented in Beauty Business Beat.
Mm-hmm.
And our mission really is to, unpack what's driving growth, what the big challenges are.
Yeah, cut through the noise a bit.
Exactly. And look at those really exciting new trends that are shaping everything. We want to help you understand what really makes this market tick, kind of beneath the surface.
Sounds good. Where should we start?
Okay, let's unpack this. So
Yeah.
when we talk about what's actually driving growth, what really stands out, what's maybe even a disruptive force here?
Well, one of the absolute biggest catalysts, you can't deny it, is the influence of social media and beauty influencers.
Wow, okay.
We're not just talking about places like Instagram or TikTok or YouTube as, somewhere to scroll anymore.
Right.
They've basically become these hotbeds for makeup tutorials, those viral beauty hauls,
Oh, yeah, the Hulk.
and challenges that can just make a product explode overnight. It's incredible.
It's more than just setting a trend, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It feels like it's the speed,
Yes, the
sheer velocity,
Mm.
like how a niche graphic eyeliner look can suddenly become this mass thing, like overnight.
Exactly.
And it completely bypasses the old ways, the traditional advertising cycles.
Totally.
That must fundamentally shift how brands even think about developing products. They can't do those multi-year cycles anymore. It has to be almost real time.
It's much more reactive. Yeah, it's a huge change in the dynamics. It kind of decentralizes that traditional marketing power
Right.
and empowers individual creators. And that just accelerates retail growth everywhere, online, offline, both. It's a really powerful engine.
That is a profound shift.
Mm.
Okay, so beyond the digital buzz,
Yeah.
what other big shifts are pushing the market forward?
Well, another really powerful driver is the whole advancement in clean and inclusive formulations.
Clean and inclusive. Okay.
Consumers today are just so much more aware. They're demanding transparency. They want products free from certain ingredients, things like parabens, talc,
Yeah, those have become pretty controversial, haven't they?
Very, but it's not just about what's not in the products.
Right.
There's also this really strong expectation now for broad shade ranges. Ones that truly respect diverse skin tones, different sensitivities.
So moving beyond just like a few token shades.
Exactly. Moving beyond tokenism to genuine inclusion. That's key.
So brands are trying to create products that are high performance, but also ethically sound.
Precisely.
What's interesting there is it feels like it's not just about meeting a demand, it's maybe about building real emotional loyalty.
Oh, absolutely. It's about building a much deeper level of trust, especially with socially conscious buyers.
Hmm.
And yes, it definitely reaches significant parts of the population that were frankly overlooked before.
Right.
So that commitment to inclusivity, it becomes a core part of the brand's identity.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, maybe a third significant growth factor is the rising demand for premium and luxury cosmetic products.
Ah, the high end.
Yeah. High-end beauty isn't just about the product itself. It's really about the whole aspirational experience, that emotional connection.
You mean like everything from the packaging, the feel of it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The velvety texture of a lip kit or that intricate design on a highlighter compact.
Yeah.
It's all part of that brand image, that sense of self-reward, maybe.
What's fascinating, though, is even with all the economic uncertainty we see globally, people still seem willing to invest in prestige beauty. What does that tell us?
It suggests that luxury beauty often acts as a kind of accessible indulgence.
Ah, okay. Like a small treat.
Exactly, a small escape or a self-reward, especially when times feel uncertain. And this willingness to invest, it helps maintain high margins and keeps that part of the market expanding. It shows how resilient that luxury segment can be.
So those are some pretty significant tailwinds pushing the market forward. But it can't all be smooth sailing, right? What are some of the big challenges the industry is facing?
No, definitely not smooth sailing. One major hurdle is price sensitivity and just the constant competitive discounting.
The race to the bottom sometimes.
Kind of. And this isn't just about one brand making less profit on a sale. It fundamentally squeezes profitability for a lot of players.
Especially in certain segments.
Yeah, particularly the drugstore and mid-tier segments. It forces them to find other ways to stand out, beyond just the price tag.
I can totally see that.
Mm.
With all the promotions, flash sales, discount codes,
Mm-hmm.
especially online,
Mm-hmm.
it must be incredibly hard for a brand to hold on to its pricing power unless it has something truly unique or maybe a super strong brand identity.
Or a different model, yeah, like a strong subscription base, perhaps. It forces innovation, not just on the product itself, but on distribution, how they engage with customers.
Right.
Another really significant hurdle is regulatory oversight and just the complexity of formulations.
Okay. The rules and regs.
Yeah. Color cosmetics are strictly regulated. They control everything from heavy metals to allergens, preservatives.
And it's not like it's the same everywhere, is it?
Not at all. That's the tricky part. Formulas have to comply with regulations that are always evolving, and they're different in different global markets. Each one has its own nuances.
Wow, that sounds like a minefield. All the testing, the documentation.
It is. Rigorous testing, tons of paperwork.
That must really slow down getting a product to market.
It definitely can delay things, yeah. And it also bumps up the R&D costs considerably.
So brands have to figure out how to navigate all these complex legal landscapes without, stifling their own innovation. That's a tough balance.
It absolutely is. And then finally, another big one, the sheer proliferation of counterfeit cosmetic products. That poses a very real kind of insidious threat.
Counterfeits. Yeah, I imagine, especially for luxury items or
Right.
those limited edition drop.
Exactly those. Fake versions pop up on unregulated online marketplaces.
Which must really damage brand trust.
It does, and worse, potentially pose serious health risks, right?
No.
People are putting these unverified products directly on their skin.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So what's the ripple effect on the genuine brands?
Well, it makes things like traceability, packaging integrity, and just educating consumers more critical than ever.
Mm.
Brands are basically forced to invest pretty heavily in anti-counterfeiting measures, which, again, just adds another layer of cost and complexity to everything.
Even with those pretty significant challenges, it still feels like this industry is incredibly innovative.
Oh, definitely.
What are some of the really exciting trends you're seeing that are reshaping how makeup is made, how it's marketed, even how we use it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of exciting stuff happening. First up, we're seeing this really powerful rise of hybrid makeup skincare products.
Ah, the multitaskers.
Exactly. This fits perfectly with that skinimalism trend that's getting so much traction.
Skinimalism. Okay, explain that a bit.
It's basically where consumers want a more streamlined routine, but they still want it to be effective. Less is more, but each product needs to work harder.
So we're talking about things like tinted moisturizers that also have skincare benefits built in.
Exactly. Or lip balms with SPF, maybe blushes infused with hydrating ingredients like hyaluronic acid.
Got it. Products that multitask offer a deeper benefit beyond just color.
Precisely. They simplify routines, offer dual benefits. It really attracts those wellness-conscious users who want functionality without compromising. It's a smart evolution, really speaks to how consumer priorities are shifting.
And what about how we actually shop for these products? Technology seems to be playing a massive role there.
Oh, huge. Definitely. So next up would be personalization and those virtual try-on technologies.
Ah, the AR filters and stuff.
Yeah, augmented reality, AI tools. They're truly transforming the customer journey. You can use your smartphone to test foundation shades, try on lip colors.
Right. Which makes buying online way less of a gamble.
Exactly. Much more interactive, and crucially, it seems to significantly reduce return rates, which is big for retailers.
That's a total game changer for e-commerce, isn't it?
Mhm.
Makes you feel more confident hitting buy. And I guess those AI tools in actual stores probably help retailers too.
For sure, helps them manage inventory better, personalize marketing based on what people are actually trying on in real time. It really helps bridge that gap between the digital and physical shopping experience.
Makes sense.
And finally, a trend that feels less like a trend now and more like, well, a requirement.
Okay.
Sustainability. It's genuinely expected by the modern consumer. People really want beauty products that align with their values, reflect environmental consciousness.
So this is everything from packaging
Yeah, recyclable materials, biodegradable stuff, refillable containers.
to the actual supply chain, like brands being transparent about their practices.
Exact. The whole picture. Transparent sustainability practices across the entire supply chain.
Are there specific examples that are really catching on?
We're definitely seeing things like modular palettes where you can swap things out, refillable compacts, plastic-free lipstick tubes. Those are gaining significant popularity.
Especially with younger consumers.
Yeah, particularly among Gen Z and millennial buyers, especially in places like North America and Europe. It's just a really clear signal that ethical production, environmental responsibility, it's now a core consumer demand.
Yeah.
And it's driving innovation all the way from formulation to the packaging on the shelf.
Wow. This has been such a fascinating deep dive. It's really clear the makeup and color cosmetic products market is just evolving at warp speed.
It really is.
Powered by, the incredible digital influence from creators, this push for ethical innovation, the surprising resilience of premium products, and that strong, like you said, almost non-negotiable demand for sustainability. It really feels like for brands that are willing to innovate, engage authentically, adapt quickly, the opportunities are just immense.
Absolutely. The landscape is complex, no doubt, but it's definitely ripe with possibility for those who really understand these underlying currents we've talked about.
And, that leads us perfectly to our final thought for you, the listener, to consider. How might your own evolving consumer values, maybe it's that desire for ethical products you were just talking about, or perhaps a need for more personalized experiences, or maybe you just want to simplify your routine. How might those personal values continue to shape the future of beauty and drive innovation in the years ahead?